All right, hello YouTube. Okay, see what's going on here. I am having issues trying to get the thing working, and I was just coughing, having a coughing fit with the coronavirus thing going on. I'm like, oh no, there's coughing here. I don't know if it's all the pollen and stuff in the air around here. I had tried to do a live stream and it didn't work. Well, it did work, but then I aborted out because it looked like, I don't know if I didn't think it was broadcasting, but it was. But we are broadcasting now. As you can see, I do have the charge controller that came through the mail. The one I ordered for like $13, $14. I think it was under $15 from Walmart. Turned out they lied. The advertising said it was an MPPT controller, which is a better one that can adjust, for like different panels and different batteries and whatnot. But they sent me a PWM controller, which is the older technology and not as efficient when you have to mix and match different stuff. But I went ahead and used it anyways because it was like $13, $15. And I may go ahead and order an MPPT controller, but not for the minivan, maybe the RV. But this may work. So I went ahead and hooked it all up. It wasn't too difficult to hook it up. Basically, very simple here with some ports, but I didn't hook everything up because when I tried to hook it up here, I wasn't sure what that device usage was. I thought that the inverter could go there, but when I hooked the inverter there, it didn't want to start up. Maybe because the battery was weak and it wasn't charging enough. But basically, it has a line here that you hook up to the batteries, the house battery, and then another line that you hook up to the solar panel, which is up here. And you might be wondering how I attached everything. I essentially just took the existing wire that was there. You know how they have their special connector? And I cut it. And made sure positive was positive and then negative was negative. And then I wired in my own 10 gauge wire and used the connector, and then also shrink wrapped it, although it didn't wrap it very good, but good enough. I don't care. Nothing's perfect on this vehicle. If I tried to do everything perfectly and use the best items and, the most expensive item, I wouldn't have solar. I wouldn't even be able to survive in the van right now. But as it is right now, we are in the van. You can see I have YouTube working here. Was just checking out my own channel. But also wanted to let you know that pizza is available. I had stopped by Little Caesars, and they actually were still open and had the hot and ready. So I ate like half a pizza. So if you're hungry for pizza, Little Caesars. Or you could have it delivered. It's like, hey, can you deliver to this parking lot? But anyhow, I went ahead and got some pizza, came over here today and just wanted to test the charge controller, and I want to show you quickly how I did it. Not going to go through a really detailed process, but basically I had mounted the panel on the roof, which you might have saw in a previous live stream. And then somebody suggested putting a dam up front, like to block the wind from going under. So I took some styrofoam and I stuffed it up there really tight. And then I just took some black Gorilla Tape and taped it down. What that does is when the wind hits it now, even though it has some drag, it's better than going under. Because when the wind goes underneath the solar panel, it wants to fly, which means it could end up lifting off and flying off the vehicle. So I put it there, all the noise stopped. It feels a lot more secure. I don't think it's going to fly off the roof. And then as far as the cable here, I cut, I looked at which one was positive and which one was negative, and I had two colors that I had bought of 10 gauge wire, one for positive, one for negative. Red is positive, black is negative. And I just spliced it into the existing connector. I just cut their special plug connector, cut that off, plugged that in, and ran it down. And you might see something I kind of did a little bit interesting here. Once again, we used our handy dandy light switch. Remember, this channel isn't about doing things right. This channel's about doing things cheap. So I have like what is this, a $2 light switch that I'm using to engage or disengage the solar panel. So the red line, which is a positive here, comes from the solar panel and comes to the light switch. You can see that, and I can flip it on and off. Right now it's on, which means the solar panel is on. And the reason I want to do that is just in case I want to turn off the solar panel, or I want to charge back off the old system, which is the inverter. I mean, not the inverter, the alternator. So I need to check all that out. But what I didn't want to do was have the alternator charging and also have the solar, because I could end up frying something. So I wanted to keep the two systems separate. Like right now when I'm parked, see the alternator charging system is off right now. That's the system that I use to charge the vehicle when I don't have solar, or when I'm cooking, with the van, generating electricity to cook. So the vehicle's alternator generates a lot of electricity and charges the battery really fast, but it doesn't charge it completely, And then the solar panel here, which I just added recently because I got it so cheap, I decided I'll go ahead and add it just to show how it would be done, even though it's really not necessary. But having it means that I can actually do stuff like play with video games and watch TV during the day and not worry about power running out at night. The reason power is important at night is for running the fan, so I don't roast in the fan. And now that I have solar, it may be possible for me to get a 12 volt, plug in my little 12 volt fridge that I have there and run it off the solar. And that would allow me to actually have cool soda, cool food that I could put in there. Not like anything huge, because it's not a full-blown compressor cooler or anything like that. It's just one of those, what do they call those things? It's like a thermal electric thingy, cooler. It's really cheap, but basically it only cools to like 20 to 30 degrees below ambient temperature. So if the temperature in the van's like 90 degrees, it's only going to go down to about 70 or 60. Not that much cooler, but cooler than 90 degrees, So I'll be able to cool sodas and stuff like that by utilizing the solar power of the sun. It's weird. You're using the sun's heat and light energy to make electricity to run something to cool something down. But it'll also allow, if I'm parked at a park or something, I can run all three fans. I can basically play games all day and not worry about power consumption, because the power would be generated live off the solar. Well, this little controller here, I didn't really read the manual, but I kind of figured it out. Right now it says it says 12 volts. That means that's how much is coming in right now, or not how much is coming in, how much my batteries have right now. So it's draining down. And the reason it's draining down is the sun is like not hitting the panels really and not charging because it's starting to get dark. But I just wanted to show the different settings and stuff. It says 14.2 is what it'll take in from the panels to charge up the system. And I'm trying to remember, look what this says here. What it says actually, wait a second. I don't know what that 12.1 is. Maybe I should look at the manual. Maybe I'll look at the manual and then I can explain this thing. I thought that it says 12.6. Maybe that's what... No. 12.6 must be what's coming in off the panels right now. 14.2 is the maximum that it will allow in. And my current battery only has 12.1, so it's kind of running low, which means I'll probably have to charge it off the alternator when I drive it somewhere tonight. Because the sun's kind of low. Now, I was trying to figure all this stuff out about solar panels and charge controllers, PWM, MPPT, 24 volts, 12 volts, parallel, serial wiring. I was like, it was so confusing. I was like, what the hell? So then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go with what I have. And as long as it doesn't kill any systems, it doesn't fry stuff, even if it's not the most efficient or the most ideal, I'm going to go ahead and do it, which is what I did. So because I got the PWM controller instead of the MPPT, I went ahead and used it. This is a 24 volt panel, okay, charging up a 12 volt battery system. The charge controller will supposedly adjust for that. It's taking power in from the 24 volt panel and reducing it down to 14, as we can see here. What was it? 14.2 to charge up my battery. That's how much it has to be 14.2 or lower, to charge the battery. And it'll shut off the battery, this system here, which I'm not hooked up to, the auxiliary, at 10.1 volts. It'll shut off this, but I'm not hooked up to the auxiliary because when I tried that, it didn't work. So, but see, my my inverter here inside has its own shut off. If the power drops too low, the inverter will automatically shut off. So I didn't really connect this third set of buttons. The only thing I'm using the charge controller is to charge the batteries, not to run any accessories. Now supposedly it has 2.1 amp USB ports, so I may try that to charge up the phones at night and see if it stays on even at night. And if it does, then that means that little blue will have batteries constantly charged throughout the day, you know, while I'm at work or wherever it'll be charging. That gives me the ability to potentially turn on the 120 volt system and charge power tools. So I could charge my drill, I could charge any power tools during the daytime, so I'll always have it ready to go. I don't know why the TV just shut off. Oh, it's probably because Roku, I wasn't doing anything on Roku. But you can see we were actually watching Living in a Van. And this is, the video is accessible on here through the internet, through the Roku device. And I'm getting internet from the phone that I'm using right now to upload. The phone's also serving as a Wi-Fi hotspot. But with this setup, I'm totally pretty much off-grid capable other than food and water. And I did kind of upgrade the toilet a little bit. It's kind of a downgrade, but an upgrade at the same time. I saw a black canister at Home Depot, and it was like $5 or $6. I went ahead and bought it. And they had an expensive lid that's a sealable lid. You know, it screws and unscrews. So I decided to get that, even though it's like $7. You know, in case I can't dump stuff right away, I might have to seal it. So I got some nice trash bags to line it. I haven't had to use it, and I don't plan on using it except for emergency. And I do still have the toilet seat hidden somewhere in the van. So at night, I can actually put it up here and use this like a little throne if I had to. And so far I haven't had to. I don't intend to, but it is an emergency toilet that's pretty comfortable and feels like a real toilet. Other than no flushing, okay? But that's the current setup. I haven't cleaned everything. This is the box that the charge controller came in. It's really cheap, like I said. I saw one online that was exactly the same, listed for $49. They say it's a MPPT, don't believe them. It's a PWM charge controller. I got it for, it looks like this. If you end up buying one, it looks just like this. If you see it, it look like this, and they say MPPT, they're lying. Okay? But if you're paying only 13 or 15 bucks like I did, then you might say, should have known that they were going to sell me a more expensive controller for such a cheap price. But it should work. I think the difference between the two is MPPT will actually try to balance load and control the charge, so that if you have a panel that produces more than you need, I think it kind of somehow offsets it so that you get maximum charging from it. I think a PWM actually, like this charge panel here, this big huge, this is a 225 watt solar panel, used solar panel I got from Wholesale LLC. Anyhow, I decided to mount it on here just as an experiment, because I'm going to do it on the RV here shortly. Not just one. I'm going to put 1,000 watts on the RV. But anyhow, with the current setup right now, I'm thinking I'm not getting the full 225 watts, but that's okay. As long as it's enough to keep the battery topped off and running during the day, running everything, I'm happy with it. And then I may do the same, a very similar setup for the RV once I've got it, you know, completely working on the van. But I really will probably go ahead and order a real MPPT charge controller for the RV versus this cheap little one. I do have another cheap little one coming, and I'll use it until the MPPT controller shows up. But I'll probably wire it the same way I did with this, where I just wire the wire to charge off the solar panel to the house battery, but I don't wire the inverter into here. I wire the inverter directly into the battery. And I have a second system to charge off the alternator. I do that the same way with the van. I mean, not the van, the RV. You know what I'm saying? That way, if it's nighttime and I'm driving somewhere, I can charge the system up if I want to. If the solar panels aren't charging fast enough, I could start up the engine and charge up. But when I'm driving, I could, you know, charge faster than I could off the solar panels. So that's pretty much it. Wanted to update you guys, let you know what was going on. Orlando, is kind of shut on lockdown right now, but I was talking to Tony, the owner of Solar Wholesale. They are still selling panels. I don't know how they're going to arrange pickups and stuff like that. But if you need solar panels and you're around the area, or you're going to order a whole bunch, like 10 plus, and have a pallet shipped to your location, you can call Javon. The number should be listed in the About Me on most of the new videos. You can go to the Solar Wholesale website to look at all the different panels that they offer. And if you tell them, you know, Denoy from Living in a Van sent you when you call Javon with that number that I posted on there on the About Me, they will give you a 10% off the total purchase price. The other thing that I'm pushing right now that I haven't done promoted yet, but it will be shortly, is actually a self-contained trailer, like as in like a solar generator trailer. It's huge. It's like a big trailer with a whole bunch of solar panels on it, a whole bunch of batteries, giant ass batteries, and power inverters and stuff. I think it generates more than 5,000 watts. That's enough to run a house, a tiny house. So if any of you are like have an off-grid house or are wanting to have portable power to run in the event that the power grid goes down, which I don't think it will, not with the coronavirus, but you know, I didn't think we would run out of toilet paper either. But if you got money and you got an off-grid house or you have an RV or whatever and you want enough power to run your air conditioner, I think that unit will be good enough. And if you mention that Denoy from Living in a Van referred you, you'll get 10% off the purchase price. I think brand new, those units are like $30,000. We're selling them for $12,000 or so, and you can get 10% off if you mention me. But contact Siobhan. Those units are not available in Orlando. They are in California, and they have a fleet of them. I don't know how many exactly, but they've got more than one. So cities and businesses and stuff that might need off-grid power, or in the event that the power grid shuts down, those things might make nice emergency units, or you know, self-contained off-grid power generators for your house or whatever, or your RV. If I had a house right now and I had the money, I would buy one. You know, then I don't have to put solar on the house. I just park the trailer behind the house, run the power line out there, and I got electricity. I can run off grid. Anyhow, that'll be a video that I'm going to be making here just to help promote them, you know, because their business is shut down and they're losing revenue right now. As far as ordering, like I said, I don't know what the status is. I do know that officially they're shut down, but then Tony said to go ahead and promote it, and if people want to buy it, I guess they'll make arrangements. So call Javon, and as far as me, now that I got this working, I'm going to begin preparing the panels. You can see I already have one panel mounted up on the RV. It's not hooked up or anything like that, but I'm going to mount 4 panels up there if I can fit all 4 up there. And I think I'm going to wire them in series. If you're like a solar expert, okay, let me know how you think I should wire it, series or parallel. Now, series, what would happen is supposedly the watts will go up, right? The total number of watts will go up, and the voltage will go up. But the current, the amps, stays the same, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know what the significance of that is, other than that if the amps are wired in parallel, I have to use thicker gauge wiring because it'll have more amperage and it'll get hot. And I don't want to get thicker gauge wire. I like, this is a 10 gauge wire, which is what I want to use, which is why I'm thinking of going series, even though it supposedly is not the most efficient way to do it. And also my power pack, I'm not going to rewire it as 24 volts, even though they say that you should. 24 volts is more efficient than 12 volts. But I'm going to keep it 12 volts because I charge off the alternator as well. So keeping the battery bank at 12 volts makes it easier to charge off the alternator, even though I think I lose some efficiency as far as the solar panels. But the whole point of me putting the solar panels on there wasn't to be like completely off-grid capable and to conserve power or anything like that. The main thing I want to be able to do is run a refrigerator, the RV's refrigerator. So even if I'm not efficient, but I'm efficient enough to run the refrigerator all night, all day, then that RV right there, that becomes fully self-contained, off-grid capable. And if there's excess power and I can run a dehumidifier in there, then I can generate water. So look forward to those experiments. We're going to try to make water out of air. But basically, I'm having solar power, having the ability to have electricity, and be able to generate it myself is giving me some food for thought for some experiments that I'm going to do to like making my own water and being able to keep food cold because of the refrigerator. I won't be able to run the air conditioner off it because I don't have a large enough battery bank, and I don't have enough room for solar panels. But if I had the solar trailer that I was just talking about earlier, it would be more than enough. But I don't have that. So we won't be running the air conditioner off solar. If we wanted to run air conditioner, we could run the generator and run air conditioner. But having solar in the RV, just like the van, will mean that during the daytime, I can use electricity as much as I want. This is shutting off because Roku's going into power save mode or whatever. But basically, I'll be able to run all my electronics, have the kids with me, and they can play video games. They could have chilled soda, in the refrigerator. We could run a whole bunch of fans. Can't run the AC, but we could run fans, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fans, and not worry about wasting electricity because the solar panels would be generating it. I can see right now the power is low. See how it says 11.9. This is telling me my battery is actually using power right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut this off. Okay, so I shut off the inverter. And you can see the charge controller jumped up to 12 because, the inverter was using some power. Now, I don't know if you can see the little icons there. I'm going to try to focus here if I can. The little icon shows that the solar panel is charging right now. That's because my switch right here is on, but I'm going to flip that off. So watch what happens when I flip it off. See the little icon there that it's charging? I flip it off and see how the panel went away. So right now my battery has 12 volts. Okay? 12 volts right now. It isn't charging, and it's not connected to the vehicle. So I'm going to try my little experiment here and see if I had dual charging capability. So the solar panel is disconnected right now, and you can see I started the car up. It still says 12 volts is what my house bank is holding right now. But when I flip this, it should start charging. And here you can see it jumped up to 12.3, 12.4. So doing it like this, even though I'm not efficient, I actually think I'm more efficient. I'm able to charge quickly. See, it's already up to 12.5, but it's not. It'll go back down. My batteries are weak. They're old batteries. They're not holding the best charge. So what this will allow me to do is basically charge off the, just like before, the system will let me charge off the alternator when I don't have solar available, like at nighttime, or if I need to charge the system up fast, like I'm getting ready to drive somewhere to park for the night, I'm going to charge this back up so I can use my fans all night. But during the daytime, when I'm parked somewhere and just sitting and not driving, I can flip that off, which I do. I flip off at night so that it disconnects from the from the vehicle starter battery. That way I can start the vehicle no matter what my status of the battery is back here. I disconnect that at night anyways. And during the daytime, in the morning, or even at night, I can flip this back on so that in the morning when the sun comes up, this will automatically start charging. So Little Blue just became like exponentially more powerful. I'll be able to leave this charging it charges nonstop. The sun's just giving me free electricity, and I'll be able to turn on my my inverter so I can run 120 volts. And that means I can take my power tools and plug them in and charge them during the daytime. And of course USB and stuff charges like normal. The system just works as normal. It's just that now during the daytime when I'm not driving, the system will trickle charge. And so that whenever I get into the vehicle, the battery is always as charged as it can be. And if I drain it faster than the solar's charging it, I can actually switch it off and see it says 12.7 now. So you can see how fast charging off the alternator works compared to charging off solar. And, that's why for most people, they think that they want to live off-grid or they want to survive off-grid, and they start buying also the solar panels, charge controllers, and all this crazy stuff. It's useful if you're parking somewhere and you're not driving. But if you're driving, it's actually like 100 times faster to charge off your alternator, and it only costs I think if you just did it really cheap, it only costs like less than $10 or something. You know, $10 and maybe an hour to set up, and you don't have to. You can get the stuff at Home Depot, just some wires, and a fuse or whatever. And if you want to keep like me, $2 light switch. You know, so if you're new to this channel and you don't know how to do all this stuff, you want to watch the playlist on the Cooking with Denoy, which shows how to use it to cook, but it also shows how it's set up. Or if you want to watch the whole van build to see how the system evolved from really simple systems to what you're seeing right now with the ability to charge off the alternator as well as solar, you'll want to watch the playlist, you know, the 2003 Dodge Grand Caravan camper van build or whatever. It'll show everything, like how I set all the batteries, and it's not as complicated as it seems once you understand what you're doing or what I'm doing. But I got to put a disclaimer in there. I'm not an electronics person. I don't know any of this stuff, okay? All I know is it works. So proceed at your own risk. I've been doing it now for what, about 3-4 years that people have been following me, and it's been working fine. When there were hiccups in the systems, like problems with the batteries not charging and stuff, the viewers were kind enough to point me, you know, and explain to me things about batteries and how they charge and whatnot. The people who knew. So make sure you always read the comments, you know, on the builds and stuff so that you avoid some of the mistakes I had. But the system right now is pretty efficient as far as maintainability and, you know, cost. Like, this is very cheap, you know. I think I paid like about, because they gave me a super discount on here. I think I only paid like $45, $50 for the panel. Now the wire was expensive because I bought spools of it, but really it's not too much. The switch was like $3. Charge controller was like $13, $15. That was it, you know. So not that expensive. Well, I am gonna go ahead and tune out. Let me read. Somebody's asking if I install for people. I don't really install because I'm not an expert, but you can watch my videos. Maybe, you know, I can go through and explain a little bit more in detail. I think I was pretty detailed this time though. But it, you know, as far as installing and stuff, I don't do that. I think they have sometimes some of the other van groups, they have like, well, they won't be doing it this year. They normally have these van gatherings and people do installs and stuff on that. But if you watch my videos, it wasn't too bad. All I did was I took the panels here. You can't see from the front, but I used, because I'm always cheap. You know, the whole thing with me is I don't have money. So instead of using the $10 or $20 solar panel mounts, these are just L brackets from Home Depot that they use for bracing corners. You know, when you have two pieces of wood going together, they put that on in between the corner so that the wood is stronger. But you can use that to lift this up because you want to have air here circulating. That's what keeps the panel a little bit cool, because when the panels get too hot, they stop working, you know, and they melt. The stuff melts. That's how hot it gets. So I just got those, and you can see that my roof is curved, so that's why it looks like it's not mounted straight, because it actually follows the curve of the roof. And I just screwed through, you know, used a drill and screwed through and bolted it. And then I did put holes here, but I put this gooey goop down there to kind of seal any hole. Now, it's not perfect, but this is a junky van. When you have a junky van, you're not afraid. I mean, you know, putting a hole in it was a little bit nerve-wracking, but honestly, the van's kind of junky, okay? Everything's kind of junky. And when it's kind of junky, you're not afraid to experiment. So, you know, I mounted it up there using these, and I did all the holes here to hold it in place. But then when I was driving, I could hear the wind, you know, wanting to lift this whole thing up. And then one of the viewers, that's why it's important to read all the comments and stuff. One of the viewers made a really good suggestion of making a little wind guard here. I tried to put a diagonal one, but then mounting it became an issue. I was like, well, I don't want to drill more holes and possibly make more leaks. So I had some leftover styrofoam from when I was working on the RV, and I just cut it. Because see, it's also curved. It's not exactly flat. I had to cut like a wedge shape. You know, because see how it's smaller there in the center than it is here on the end where it's wider. So I had to cut like a wedge, and I shoved it all in there really tight. So friction is holding the styrofoam in place. And then to kind of help seal it a little bit better and hold it, I just got some Gorilla Tape and just went up the front. Is this a permanent thing? No. Is this good enough? Yeah. It just needs to last long enough. And, you know, I monitor it. If it looks like I need to repair it, replace it, I do that, you know. But it looks like it's fine for now. And same with this, you know, they have connectors and stuff. You can buy these cables. You can buy the solar cables with the proper connection so you can plug it right in. I don't know if you heard that noise there. Even my phone, my camera here, it's just my phone. It's just a telephone. I'm so cheap. I don't bother buying a camera. You know, this channel is not about spending money. This channel is just about doing things. What you do to survive and how you do things without spending too much money. But basically, you know, you have a positive and a negative, and instead of buying the cable and spending, I think these cables are like $20 to $50, depending on where you buy them from. I'm not going to spend that much. I just cut the line. Positive is positive, because the power line is just to carry power, and negative is negative. And because the color coding was available on the wire from Home Depot, I think I bought a spool, and I think each spool was like $15. So I have more wiring than I needed for this project, but I'm going to be wiring the RV, you know, so I decided to go ahead and get the spools. And then this allows me to just shove it up in here, and you know, it's not too bad. I didn't even drill holes here because it's got the foam, which when I shut the door here, I'm gonna move that out of the way here. But when I shut the door, and my little handy dandy Roku remote, see, I think it's fully charged now. It says 12.7, and this is charging off the car, which I'm gonna shut off here. The air conditioner running and everything. But now the battery will start to drain back down, because see, normally a fully charged battery, when it's good, it's like 12.8. But these batteries that I have here, they're old, and as you use batteries, they start to not hold a good charge. This thing will go to 12.5, 12.6, and that's fully charged right now. Because the battery is not new anymore. And I actually have two of them. I have that one there, and I didn't even wire it properly. I'll explain the system on another video, but I did things not the most efficient. I did them the most versatile, or the easiest, or the cheapest. And the reasoning is, it just needs to be good enough. It doesn't need to be perfect. Okay, so I have one house battery here. That was the main house battery system. But I have a second house battery that's here in a second box that is hooked into that, charging off that. So it's got two batteries here, but I'm not treating it as one, because when I wired all the solar and all the other stuff, I only went to the regular house battery. I didn't treat the two as if they were one block. And I don't think you guys understand. I have to explain it in another video. But basically, instead of having electricity flow through both batteries when it's being used or charging, it's only flowing through the front one. And the back one is actually trickle charging off the front one. And if the front one runs low, it trickle charges backwards the other way. It's not the most efficient, okay? But the way I'm doing it that way is because all I have to do is disconnect. There's like a jumper that I can disconnect between these two batteries. And see this second box here? That's a self-contained portable battery pack that I can take into the woods or camping and stuff. It's kind of heavy, but if you watch my videos where I lived out in the woods in the hut, and I was running a power saw, I was running a TV, I was running a computer, it's because I had a power pack like that I took out with a portable inverter, and I was able to run off-grid. Now, I didn't have solar panel to charge up when I was out in the woods. If I had solar panels like these, that would have been a game changer, because that hut would have been totally self-contained off-grid, because it had water catchment, it had everything. So basically the battery is charging, I think it's saying at 12.4. Seems to be the maximum that it's doing. But at least I know now it works. I can charge. Right now it's charging off nothing. Because the system is, you know, now I've disconnected the battery, but it's dropping back down actually. So I'll charge it back up while I'm driving, but at least I know that I can charge off solar or alternator. And that for me is a big deal. I will sign out. I hope everybody is doing well. Erika, you want to know how I connect my Roku without Wi-Fi? The phone that I'm on right now, the fact that you're watching me on the internet, my phone generates Wi-Fi. And I can share my Wi-Fi through my phone so that, the Roku or my kids, anybody with a device that I give them the password to, can access my phone and use the Wi-Fi through there. So that's why you were watching YouTube. I was actually using a lot of Wi-Fi. I go through a lot of data because, like this live stream goes through a lot of data. So I generally pay for the most expensive plan I can find on the budget one, like right now on Metro, one of the cheapest. But the phone plan I use is, I think, about $65 or $70 a month. But considering that I use it for YouTube and I use it for Wi-Fi access, internet access to stream YouTube, to stream movies, to stream Pluto TV, and for my kids when they come and they play video games on it and stuff, $70 for phone service as well as internet service and being able to do it anywhere, remote, I think that's worth it. So Angry says he's noticed that his solar system is less effective at certain times, for example, when it's dark outside. That's when you switch on the alternator charging system and you start your car up, which I can do at night. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and sign out. I hope you guys are all doing well. It looks like I have pizza for tonight. Pizza. Yeah. All right, take care, everybody. Stay safe. God bless you all. Stay from people. Take care, everybody. I'm just glancing real quick through your comments here. All right, everyone's saying bye, so I am saying bye. All right, take care, everybody. Bye-bye now.